Even the trendiest people in the world have fallen in love with traditional Ukrainian attire, which has resulted in conventional wear being more popular than it has ever been before. Several elements have contributed to the growth of the obsession, including the uncomplicated nature of the shape, its slender profile, the wide variety of symbols and adornments, and the use of vivid colors. But what makes the traditional Ukrainian wear unique? Let's find out in today's video. It is usually quite interesting how a country's clothing reflects the country's culture. The origin of the traditional clothing worn in Ukraine may be traced back to Kievan Rus. It is not the same in every region of Ukraine, and every region has its own peculiarities that set it apart from the others. However, shirts produced from homespun cloth were worn by both men and women regardless of where they lived. One trendy shirt is called Vyshyvanka, and its most notable characteristic is the embroidery on the collar, cuffs, and hem. A t-shirt and shawl have historically been considered part of the standard attire for women and girls in Ukraine. In addition, each of them wore a waistcoat and a maxi skirt. People from around Ukraine accessorize their garments by tying ribbons and flowers around their waists, wearing floral jewelry, and wearing floral headdresses. The number of beads and ducats seen on a woman was one of the primary indicators of her social position. The cotton pants and the linen shirt have been mainstays in the male wardrobe for a long time. As we have said, each area in Ukraine has its own distinct style of traditional attire. However, the traditional decorative elements found in northern Ukraine were not very extravagant. When wearing and embroidering, it was common practice to employ threads of two different colors or even a single color alone. Throughout Ukrainian history, the colors red and black have, respectively, been associated with bravery and wisdom. The colors red and white were utilized in the needlework to signify pleasure and sanctity. Despite its apparent simplicity, the design had many geometric components. The southern region of Ukraine uses colors that are significantly more brilliant. For instance, when they embroidered their shirt's open collar, they utilized red, yellow, and green threads. In the region, jewelry and belts were vital parts of a woman's ensemble. The link between the people of Ukraine and Moldova left its mark on the traditional dress worn in southern Ukraine. The traditional dress of western Ukraine often reveals Hungarian and Polish linguistic and cultural influences. The decorations that were added to their conventional garments were very intricate. The garments that the people wore consisted of blouses and dresses that were intricately embellished with embroidery and applique work. It was embroidered in various colors, with red and black serving as the predominant colors. The embellishment of their clothing consisted of beads of various colors, as well as gold, silver, and other metals. The bottom border of the hutsul's pants was stitched, and then the embroidery was folded upwards. It was finished with woolen threads in various hues of green and yellow. The traditional clothing of eastern Ukraine was heavily influenced by both the ancient Slavic culture and the Russian culture. They wore slim-fitting shirts with thin sleeves, and the cuffs of those shirts were neatly ornamented. The embroidery, which was done in various colors, was embellished with lace, ribbons in bright colors, and gray fringe. Their waists were adorned with many belts of different types of jewelry. The appliques were crafted out of cotton velvet or brocade, respectively. In terms of both culture and language, this was a highly unique identity in Ukraine. Embroidery with a white background and a lot of red and black decoration was typical in the central areas, especially in the Poltava region. They include both floral and geometric patterns in their designs. During the 20th century, on the other hand, women started donning shirts that were embroidered with a variety of colored threads. The use of embroidery on white shirts was restricted to a minimum from the 17th to the 19th century, and the colors red and blue were the only colors allowed for adornment. The sleeves and the outerwear were both decorated with cotton appliques. In Ukraine, a wreath composed of real and artificial flowers was essential to a woman's attire. Girls in Ukraine still wear the traditional head wrap and red ribbon that are part of Ukrainian clothing when they attend school occasions that require them to dress in Ukrainian attire. The traditional clothes of Ukraine are easily identifiable by their elaborate hand needlework, which has a long and illustrious history. The patterns stitched on the shirts of both male and female Ukrainians allowed them to express their creative side. Even at a young age, young girls are instructed in the art of embroidery. Vyshyvanka shirts are available for both men and women and include embroidered designs. Even in modern times, schools continue to include embroidery as a curriculum component. It is important to appreciate the fact that Ukrainians wore a variety of shirts for a variety of occasions, each of which had its own distinctive adornment. Even the ancient people who lived in Ukraine believed wearing jewelry would make them immune to harm. On top of the Vyshyvanka, Ukrainians also wore a short, warm overcoat or jacket in the wintertime. Girls who had not yet married were significantly more likely to wear shirts over their skirts than married women. Ukrainian embroidery patterns may be divided into geometric, floral, and zoomorphic designs. However, those featuring geometric patterns and floral motifs were the most common, while those showing animals were uncommon. Symbols on men's clothing are frequently geometric, while those on women's clothing are more likely to be floral. For men, they included several signs associated with fire and the sun. The snake, the many spiral waves, and the earth sign, a straight line, are examples of feminine geometric symbols. Some of the most popular floral motifs were oak, viburnum, flowers, willow, and leaf designs. There were depictions of animals such as ducks, cranes, horses, and doves in zoomorphic patterns. Children frequently wore their own versions of the Vyshyvanka. To maintain the vitality of the parents, the baby's first outfit must be created from one of the parents' old shirts. The Ukrainians implemented this practice to shield their children from danger, such as illness and unwelcome attention. The first article of clothes that a child owns is often given to them when they reach the age of 3. A girl's shirt was created from a mother's shirt, and a boy's garment was created from a father's shirt. Because traditional Ukrainian dress was an expression of the country's cultural values, an embroidered wedding gown was considered one of the most important components of a Ukrainian wedding. To create it, they used a one-of-a-kind cloth that included a range of patterns. A Ukrainian bride would be prepared for her wedding day by donning a floral wreath atop her head and accessorizing her dress with either a crimson belt or a satin ribbon. Additionally, a bride donned a pair of crimson boots. It was forbidden for brides to wear dresses with low necklines at the time, since it was considered impolite. A high neckline and little or no embellishments were typical features of the traditional Christian wedding dresses worn by the brides. This remains the case even in instances where a contemporary couple opts to tie the knot at an archaic place of worship. Ancient Ukrainians had the belief that one's ability to sew accurately might predict whether or not one will have a long and happy marriage. The white lilies symbolized the bride's innocence, and the crimson poppies represented the bride's youthful vitality. You may have already realized that the patterns used in Ukrainian embroidery have a wide range of connotations. This is because the brilliant and colorful embroidered designs of Ukrainian folklore were the original treasure of the country. It's hard to believe there are approximately 100 distinct ways to embroider clothes in Ukraine, but there are. The approach that is most commonly used in each area is different. However, the one cross-stitch method, developed in the middle of the 19th century, is by far the most well-known and popular of all techniques. According to an ancient wives' story, it used to be possible to infer something about a person's personality and aspirations based on the pattern on their shirt. Even in modern times, blouses and skirts with embroidered Ukrainian designs are highly fashionable. This is a really exciting time for people in Ukraine. Despite the apparent fact that the traditional wear has been modified to some degree, the essential elements of a traditional embroidered shirt from Ukraine can be recognized throughout the whole thing. Today, traditional wear from Ukraine is not only worn on Independence Day and other national holidays, but it is also becoming increasingly fashionable to wear on a more casual basis for everyday events such as weddings and birthday celebrations. In schools around Ukraine, students wear traditional Ukrainian Vyshyvankas as part of their uniforms. As a result of this, these clothes quickly became a huge trend all over the world. That's all from this video. What do you think of the Ukrainian traditional wear? Make sure to leave a comment and share this video with others. See you in the next video.